Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Zev. How you
Good
doing?
morning, Rabbi Green.
Hey, everybody here in the DAF is asking how you're doing, all right?
I believe I'm getting better, but not completely. I'm still coughing.
Uh-huh.
Good morning, Rabbi Green.
Okay. All right.
It sounds better.
Okay. Learning sponsors, a year of learning by the Friends of Marcy Kurtz in memory of her great niece Leah Bracha, Isaac and Evelyn Blachor in memory of his sister, Ayaracha Bas Isser, Friends of Leonie Meiselman, Leah Sabra Bas Chanok Zundel. 2 months of learning by the Friends of Milton Meller in honor of his second bar mitzvah. A month of learning by Ron and Susan Podolsky in memory of his mother, Freda Bas Shraga Feivel, Phyllis and Chaim Reese. Where's Chaim this morning? Mished?
I think he went to BRS.
Yeah. In memory of her father, Pinchas ben Abraham, Rabbi Dr. Yankee and Malko Honig, in memory of his sister Chava Bas Harav Simcha ben Yamin, his brother Tzvi Aaron Zeb ben Harav Simcha ben Yamin, his father Harav Simcha ben Yamin ben Harav Yosef Yitzchak, and her mother Seisa Bat Choyne. Be Pizer in memory of her sister Rivka Bas Avram Michael Halevi. A week of learning by Michael and Judith Poretsky in memory of his brother Avram ben Gershon. Today being the 2nd of January, there are no individual days of learning for today. May the Shema have an aliyah, crank Rafiel Velti Yeshir Shema Tzliya, and Chol B'nai Yisrael good Gaben Shia.
Amen.
Okay. We saw that yesterday's Gemara, quickly reviewing, brought a difference between the pasuk that the Tana from the Bay Rabbi Yishmael used versus the pasuk that Rava used to darshan the section in Bamidbar chapter 30, the middle section or the middle issue as to what was the status when an Aram Urasa, an engaged, betrothed, married, but not totally married, a young woman between the ages of 12 and 12 and a half was such that, the implication being that when she would make a vow, okay, both her father and her husband were in joint partnership to be able to nullify the vow. Okay, so that's where the Gemara, so to speak, left us with that basic basic position.
Then we had to do when somebody dies.
Okay, and then the Gemara gave us a whole series, right? Just to finish up yesterday, a whole series of examples. What if the father died? What if the son, the husband died? And in almost on all the cases, we saw that the, I don't want to say primary, but maybe that's a good word to use, the superior responsibility, okay? Was still, since it's clear that she lived within the domain of her father, while she was waiting to enter the domain of her husband. Okay, the implication was that the father had then, I'm going to say, the primary responsibility. Okay, well, in the sense that if the husband dies, the entire responsibility then rests on the father. Were the opposite to be the case, it does not. That's the point we were headed. Okay. All right, so we're now going to start back on top of Samach Tet. Amud Aleph is where we were holding. Shema Aviha Ve'Ferla, Lo Hispika Ba'al Lishmoa Ad Shemet. Okay, so if the father hears that she made a vow and he nullified it, or you want to use a different word, he revoked, okay, as opposed to nullify. Because remember, we saw that there were different levels, okay? Coming back, those using Art Scroll, again, worthwhile to review the introduction that Art Scroll presents there, okay? So what happens if the father heard the vow and he revoked the vow? V'lo hispika ba'al lishmoa ad shemet. And the husband did not hear the vow before he died. Okay. Choser ha'av, says our text. The father goes back. And what does it mean, go back? Okay. He repeats. Okay. Ha'av umefer chelko shel ba'al. So in other words, he does, if you will, use the expression double duty in this situation where he has, okay, since he already made a revocation, okay, he now goes back and revokes the second half, if you will, of the vow, and therefore, which would have been the role of the husband, and he does that. Umefar chelko shel ba'al. Okay, so that's the point. Why is the importance question that our text tells us it's choser? Okay, we may have thought very simply, if the father already revoked his parshin, gemarnu, okay, shouldn't have that been sufficient? No, the text is telling us that's not the case. Okay, that it's clear.
It's not all been so.
Okay, let's go on. All right, so now we go on. Amar Rabbi Nassan, says Rabbi Nassan as follows: Hein divrei Beis Shammai. This was the view of the school of Beis Shammai. However, Beis Hillel Omrim, what do they say? Ein yachol lahefer. What does it mean, ein yachol lahefer? Okay, it means what? That the father is not able to revoke this part of the husband, and therefore, if he's not able to revoke the husband's side, it means that the vow is going to be maintained, is going to continue. Okay, so on what basis is this machloket between Beit Hillel and Beit Shammai? You remember we asked the question back in a previous Amud, okay? When we said the previous on Samachet Amud Aleph in the middle of the Amud, Baal Megaz Giyez or Miklash Kalish. That was the question we asked, okay? Was the role of the husband his half of the revocation? Was that simply a fact that he severed the vow? Or did we say that he weakened the force of the entire vow? And so now we come back to our text. Okay? Shmamina, we learn from this as our text. The Beit Shammai migaz giyes. Okay, this would seem that Beit Shammai holds that the husband's half of revocation is such that he basically severs the vow. Okay? The Beit Hillel, according to Beit Hillel, Mikalesh Kalish, that Beit Hillel must seem to imply that he basically weakens the entire vow. And that would be the situation. Shmam.
Am I green? So what do we follow Beis Hillel then in the law?
Oh, excellent question, Zev asks. Who do we follow? We normally follow Beis Hillel, and that would be applied here too.
That means it cannot be revoked anymore.
Okay, so if what happens, if the young woman then would nevertheless break the vow, what's her punishment? Malchus. Okay, exactly. Okay, and one of the examples where we might argue here that Beit Shammai, Beit Hillel is actually the more machmir. Okay? All right, let's go on. Shmamina, indeed, that's what we learned from this. Okay, good questions, Baruch Shekivanta. By Rava, now we're going to see a series of questions raised by Rava, okay? And how does it apply when we see that there are other kinds of cases or scenarios involved, right? Yesh.
It says that she doesn't get Malchus.
No?
Because the father had
Because-
weakened the vow.
Okay, all right. That would make sense. That's based on the first line in the that the Shmamina, that the father heard it and he already revoked it. Okay, so that his revocation is strong enough to weaken it, whereas the husband's is not, per se, depending on that's the machloket. Okay, all right, by Rava. So Rava asks the following shaila, and we're going to see quite a few of these. Okay, yesh she'ela b'hakam, or ein she'ela b'hakam. Do we say that one is able to inquire of a sage in order to remove the confirmation of the vow, or do we say that that is not possible? Okay, im timtzer lomar, if you want to say yesh she'ela b'hakam, that there is the viability of asking a sage to, let's say, annul or revoke the confirmation.
Revoke the
person's affirmation, the confirmation of the vow. Okay, yesh she'ela b'hefer or ein she'ela b'hefer. Does that mean if we can apply a sage's statement of revocation, okay, to a normal vow situation where it was confirmed, can we say that in a revocation situation, the sage can change the position of the person of the father or the husband in that situation?
And this is all has to happen on the same day.
Right, it
Because
has
if
to
it's
be.
tomorrow, it's finished.
Right, because the Torah indicated clearly, bo bayom was the language in the pasuk we read yesterday, right? So what happens? Okay, right. So Rava's question seems to be attempting to draw a parallel between she'elat chacham, getting the let's call it for the moment the nullification by the sage of a confirmation, to nullification by the sage on a revocation by father or husband. Okay, so what happens? Tashma da'amar Rabbi Yochanan, as Rabbi Yochanan explained, nishalin al hakam. It is possible to request and get the confirmation. Okay, the reversal by the sage on a confirmation. Ve'ein nishalin al hafar, but one cannot request from the sage the nullification of a revocation by the father or the husband. Okay, new question by Rabbah. Okay, now this is Rabbah who now is asking the question. Sometimes our text is going to have to deal with the issue of this, whether it's Rabbah. We'll see that momentarily. Kiyem lichi, kiyem lichi. Okay, the individual who confirmed the vow says it twice. Okay, what happens? V'nish'al al hakama rishona, and the sage was asked, okay, to negate the first confirmation, but it was not asked to negate the second statement of confirmation. Mahu, what's the situation there? Okay, Tashma, listen to the following Braita de Amar Rabbah. So stated by Rava, Im nish'al al harishona, shniya chala alav. According to Rava, where the sage has been requested to nullify the first confirmation, the second statement of confirmation falls into place and remains standing. Okay, that's his point. Third example, again, another question. By Rabbah, okay, what happens? Kiyem lichi umofar lichi. The person says that they maintain the vow, and immediately then they say they cancel the vow. All right, what happens? velo tichol hakama, and the confirmation of the vow will not be maintained, ela im kain chala hafara, until the point where the nullification, okay, is the revocation is in place.
Question is, are they simultaneous?
Simultaneous or consecutive? That is the question. Okay, how do we understand that statement? Okay, Mahu, what's the situation? Tashma, listen to the following Braita, okay, as we go over to the next Okay, now our Gemara is going to bring us a Braita, which dealt with a machloket on the issue of Tamura at this point. Okay, remember that a Tamura is the substitution of one animal for another as an offering when the first animal is not available for some reason.
Tamura is the illegal substitute.
Okay, right? Okay, so let's see what happens. Tashma, mi plugta the Rabbi Meir of the Rabbi Yossi. Okay, from the machloket that exists between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yossi on the topic of Tamura, perhaps we can learn an answer to our situation of whether we were talking about confirmation and revocation being simultaneous or continuous. Okay, the Rabbi, right? So what happens? Titsnan, okay, as taught there in the Mishnah in Gemara tomorrow. Harei zot murat olah. The person says this animal and initially says that I want this animal to replace an animal for an olah offering, tmurat shlamim. And then he immediately says, I want this animal to replace a shlamim offering. Okay. Of course, the question is, which is it going to be? Harei zot murat olah. This animal, then, the replacement animal, is to be considered a tmura for a olah, for the first thing that was stated, right? Divrei Rabbi Meir, that's the view of Rabbi Meir. First thing out of your mouth is what applies, okay? The Rabbi Yossi Omer, says Rabbi Yossi, im lachach nitkavein mitchila, if that was his intent initially, ho'il v'i efshar likrot shnei shemot ke'echad, since it's impossible, I'm saying, for a human being to recite two things, two names, two items at the same time, right? As one, divarav kayamin. Rabbi Yossi says, no. He says, since he can't say, both are going to apply. He said one, but then what he realized, maybe he changed his mind and said the other, which would seem to imply that it's consecutive as opposed to simultaneous. Va'afilu Rabbi Meir lo ka'amar. But our Braita tells us, or our Mishnah actually tells us, that even Rabbi Meir, when he said his position of first words are the base, are the result. The lo amar, it's when the person did not say lo tichal zo ela im kein chalazo. Okay, that this doesn't apply until the following also applies. In other words, he makes one contingent on the other. Okay, aval hacha. But in our case, with Rabba's example, the amar lo tichal hakama ela im kein chala hafara, and we thank the Gemara for repeating Rabba's position there to remind us that the confirmation of the vow does not fall into, it does not chal until the nullification. Rabbi Meir nami modeh the hafara chala, that Rabbi Meir then in that case would likewise agree that the nullification or the revocation of the vow has taken place. Okay, so that seems to answer our question, okay, as to whether it's contiguous, right, continuous or simultaneous initially. Now, little question of girsa here. Ba'e Rabbah, my text says, and others say it should be Rava. Okay. Kiyem umefer lichi bavat achat. What happens if he uses the word simply kiyem, not kiyem lecha, vehefer lecha, okay, but says kiyem umefer lecha, okay, the two words almost together at the same time, bavat achat simultaneously. Mahu, what's the situation? Tashma, listen to the following bright. The Amar Rabbah, or again Rava, Kol davar she'eno bazeh achar zeh, anything that is not said in a continuously basis, right? Afilu bevat echad eno ba'e, eno. Afilu bevat echad eno. Even then, it's not even going to be, if it's not said continuously, it's not understood to be simultaneously. Okay. Okay. Go on with another question. By Ra,
This time it's Rava straight.
right? What happens? Ki em lichi hayom. One has, you have confirmed the vow today. For this day. Okay? What happens? Mahu, what's the situation? Mi amrinan, do we say, Kiman da amar la mofer lichi lemacha? Do we say that it is a situation where he's saying to her that therefore, since he said it is confirmed for you today or this day, the implication is tomorrow the vow will be revoked. O Dilma, hala omarla, or perhaps he did not say it to her. In other words, and therefore we're going to come to the question, therefore no explicit revocation is an actual revocation. Okay, and tomorrow's Gemara is going to pick up with the point, im timtsel omar halo amarla, amarla mofer lichi lemacha. If he did not spell it out explicitly, mahu, what is it? And that's where we'll pick up. Exactly.
You can't revoke it tomorrow.
That's right, because it says in the Torah, bo bayom, that day. That's the point.
But he said it today.
Right.
So
can you say it? Right. Consider today applicable for tomorrow. Okay, Zev, all right? Take care, Zev. Poor Shlem.
Thank you. Have a good day, Rabbi Green.
Take care.
1 o'clock.